What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex. In this video, we got to talk a little bit about Banjo-Kazooie, kind of the continuation of the day we've had with Xbox so far. I did a video kind of recapping the biggest things on the main channel. I think this kind of broke right as I was getting the video done and putting it up on the main channel. So thought this was a big deal. I know there's several people in the community here that are really into Banjo. And, it's a franchise that I'm not super into, but I can relate to the thought that it needs to come back. I'm pioneer of the Sly Cooper team over here, Crash Bandicoot. Okay, I understand what it's like when a franchise is just dead and it's got no chance of coming back. So I can relate to it. But so it's a little confusing because we've had Toys for Bob come out, right, and say hey, Banjo's one that we'd like to take a crack at and deserves to come back. And it's I think they're doing Spyro 4, which is great in its own right. But if they were to do Banjo, you're talking years and years and years away, right? And then remember, right, there has been rumors over the last couple years that there is somebody out there, I don't know if it was Rare or some, it probably was, that was working on a Banjo-Kazooie game. So I guess maybe Toys for Bob wanted to also do one. I don't know how much they actually knew, but there was a rumor that this thing was actually happening. And I believe it came from Nate the Hate, because then he comes in, he kills that rumor today. So he says, haven't heard an update on that in a while. I'd assumed it was shelved at this stage. It did exist when we spoke of it a couple years ago. Now, okay, technically, and I just want to be transparent because, all of the stuff that did happen today, it doesn't feel like, at least reading that, it's coming out the same day as all the stuff of Xbox, but it doesn't feel like maybe this happened on this day. Funny enough, though, and it's not actually funny, it's just kind of sad, the person who made Banjo and Sea of Thieves, the director, Greg Mayles, and I hope that's how you say it, he's leaving Rare after more than 35 years following the cancellation of Everwild. So that is what almost makes me feel like it was today, right? Maybe the Banjo thing didn't happen, but then if you don't even want to believe Nate the Hate, but you want to believe him originally that they were working on it, right? Now that he's gone, and by the way, it's not just him too. There's I think 3 or 4, the head leadership of Rare just left. I think 1 got fired and 2 or 3 just left on their own. So Rare is in a very, very bad spot. As I said on podcast now, I really feel Microsoft or Xbox just really wants them to do Sea of Thieves, which I think is a bad idea, but that seems to be the plan, right? Any of these kind of creative thought-provoking, anything that takes a little bit of effort away from Sea of Thieves, we don't want you doing it. It really feels like that's the case. And then having a lot of your leadership team just bail on you clearly means, and I think it was Everwild's fault, right? I think a lot of them wanted to make Everwild and continue to make it, and then when you shut that stuff down, I think a lot of them just got disheartened. So you hate to see it. I think with Everwild, I talked about that on the main channel, but Banjo as well. Again, not too. I played a little bit of the first game. This is a franchise I do want to go through all the way and make videos on Back to the Past for, but I'm not, again, super into it. I would absolutely play a new one. And again, I think, well, again, 2 things. One, it's I can relate because of Sly and Crash, but 2, I like that, creativity. I'm sad when an Everwild or a game like Banjo, and I hate the idea that these companies want to just funnel these studios into doing 1 or 2 things, and they're really not the most, I like Sea of Thieves, but it's not, again, that kind of creativity and trying things new. I despise, Activision had turned really so many of these amazing Beanox and High Moon Studios, all of these studios that made incredible, whether it was Transformers games or Spider-Man games, all of these amazing, late 2000 games that were so freaking awesome. They just turn all of them into support studios for Call of Duty. It's awful, and it's you could space it out a little bit. You can have Call of Duty take a little bit longer to make and have these studios experiment, and maybe you have a hit every now and then, but they choose to not do it. Now that Banjo, I think, is going to set the world on fire, but there are people that care, and to have that as part of the company besides just Sea of Thieves, I feel, and Everwild and other stuff, I feel would be a really good idea. So not ideal, and I know that when I saw that, I said, oh, there's several people I know on social media that I think are going to be pretty upset if I talk about this. So I just wanted to bring it to their attention. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.